Gangs. 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 Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam, and this is the Sam Daily Show. We apologize for the technical difficulties. However, we are here, and yes, we are back. Went on a little bit of a hiatus. I think it's a discussion that we may be able to have here, but first off, what we're going to be speaking about today is I had a little bit of a story to share about it can't be the first time that I've ever had a run-in with a transgender. But this is the first time that they shock. I mean, every time they shock me. But this is the time that we'll get into it. And then we're also going to talk about Italy. I guess something's going on there. And then we're going to talk about wars. But the first thing I want to ask you and introduce is Anarcho Josh over there.
Hello.
So you're working a full-time job, yeah?
No, part-time.
Do you ever find that you get more things done whenever you have less time?
Like if I'm like under pressure, essentially?
Like I remember you were working 2 jobs at one time, like 50, 60 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. It was like a lot.
And whenever you had less free time, yeah? Yeah,
for sure.
And so did you, in that free time, that spare time, did you find yourself doing more?
No, about the same.
Okay. Because I'm one of those people that, like, if I'm not given, if I'm given 2-3 weeks and there's not anything immediate that I must get done, then I just become slothful. I just become lazy and I just don't do anything. And so that's kind of what happened. I had between Christmas lights and lawn care season is that I have probably about a month and a half, 2 months where I don't necessarily have anything that I have to get done. I mean, I have to prepare my taxes and everything like that, but that's something that takes me maybe a total of, I don't know, 20, 30 hours or something like that, right? And so the plan was supposed to be to do an episode every day. But then I was like, well, let's do it every week. But then so my apologies to everybody who was expecting there to be a show. Apologies to Anarcho Josh over there. I don't know why he does that, but more of an apology to all of you who enjoyed the show. We're back. We're going to be trying to do this at least once a week regularly from here on out at Thursdays at 7. I'm shooting for 7:30. Usually whenever I shoot for 7, it ends up being 7:30.
7 to 8-ish.
Yeah. I mean, if you're free for that, are you?
I always make sure that I'm free on Thursdays.
Except for last Thursday, whenever.
Well, that's because we didn't do the show for weeks on end, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna make plans.
Yeah, you were like, hey Sam, are we gonna be doing this or not? And then I was like, yeah, let's do it on a Wednesday. And then I texted him. I texted him the next day, or I called him the next day, and then texted him. Doesn't matter. And he goes, oh, I've got plans for today, actually. So then we had to push this episode to today. So with all that said, is that what is in the news today with this Italy thing? You know probably a little bit more than I do. What's going on with that?
The person who got elected president, or whatever the title is, basically passed a bill that was like banning the use of any other language than than Italian. In like official settings, and especially English. And also there's this whole other thing that she passed where it was like the banning of like alternative flour sources to preserve Italians like cuisine culture or something like that. It's real bonkers. Some right wing like
See, I thought what happened was
nationalist.
what they did was they moved the age of retirement
Mm-hmm.
from 62 to 64. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Okay, so yeah, that's it slipped my mind until then we started like bringing it up and talking about it, and I heard so from 62 to 64, and so what that means is basically all of these older folks are like they're wanting to get their pensions, but then they got to work another 2 years, which okay,
at least grandfather it in, you know.
No, I think that you keep
If I'm
working.
60, if I'm like 61 and I'm about to turn 62 and get my pension, and then this law passes, like I'm gonna be mad.
I don't know. I'm under the impression that you don't ever retire.
Oh, it depends on how poor you are. If you're rich enough, you can retire at 20.
No, I don't think that you'll ever retire. I think that you have it in your genes. I've got it in my genes. I think that there's people that I meet and I see, and it's like, no. And I don't think that you're the type to retire. I think that you're someone who genuinely enjoys, you actually enjoy serving people. And
Serving people, sure. Work, no.
so you do something more voluntarily, like with your time?
I'd
as opposed
rather,
to-
help out my community or whatever, and like,
That's awesome,
volunteer
'cause
for
our-
the pool or
Yeah.
like start a community garden. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if I'm making money. I'd like to do something though.
Well, that's really awesome because we're doing an Easter egg hunt at our church on Saturday, and we could definitely use some more people to help out.
Helping out a church for some sort of mishmash between Christian and pagan holiday where we hide eggs.
Well, that's actually not true at all.
Oh,
but
is it not?
Yeah, that we could get into.
Where
that.
did the egg thing come from then?
It was some I believe it was in Germany in I think like the 1800s, where basically they would it was because it's right near Passover, and so they didn't eat meat, and so what happened was the eggs is that they would I think to keep them good is that would they hard boil them?
Probably.
I don't know. They
Pickle
no.
them?
I don't think
Pickle 'em,
I don't even
right?
think that they used them to like they took them and they didn't eat the eggs, and so they had all of these eggs left over, and so what they did was they ended up painting them. So it is actually a tradition based out of Germany, and it coincides with Jesus' resurrection and Passover. So
Either way, I'd like to help out my community with real things and not entertain a bunch of children with a dumb Easter egg hunt. Appreciate the offer, though.
yeah, okay. Well, chat's blowing up right now. Apparently, the whole entire retirement thing is actually France and not Italy.
It's France.
Yeah, so France is the retirement thing. So this is why you don't come here to get your news. You come here to see Anarcho Josh, and I don't know, sit in a room together and
Yell at each
have
other?
complete opposite everything. No, not everything. I mean, like your worldview is entirely based off
We're
of
both
mine.
pro-gun.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you can't give me much of a reason why that you are, but
You have
we'll
to
get there.
have guns to start a revolution, dog.
Yeah, speaking of guns, what did you think of that deal that happened in Tennessee?
What was the deal? I don't keep up with this stuff, man. It's all dystopian.
Well, I believe it was a man or a woman or a man woman or a woman man.
A trans person?
That's it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Mhm.
The shooting at the school. What?
Oh, I don't know anything about it. Apparently a trans person brought a gun to school and started shooting people.
I don't think it was their school.
Oh, well, a school.
A school.
I don't know. I don't know the story, so I don't know the context, so I can't have an opinion on it.
Okay, well, that was a perfect segue into my story here, is the transgender that I ran into. It was, I believe, 2 weeks ago. And I got to say that this is something that I sat on for a while. I didn't know whether I wanted to share this or whether or not I wanted to just keep it to myself. In fact, I got to say that a big reason why I actually started this channel, and even I think Anarcho Josh would find this admirable to some degree, is I saw so much mess when it came to COVID that I was like, everybody's going everywhere, but like all I'm trying to figure out is, you know, doctor told me that I have cancer. I mean, doctor didn't really tell me I had cancer, but doctor tells me I have some kind of disease. Okay, next question is, doc, what is my chances? And nobody was answering that question. And so I ended up running all of the data. Anyway, that's what was like the original spark of this channel, was that I wanted the people who trusted me locally in my community, which may be a minuscule amount. However, I wanted to reassure them that like your kids aren't going to die. Is that safe to say?
Well, I mean,
do you agree with that? I mean, it's been so long since the whole COVID thing that like I'm pretty sure that we were on the same.
If I remember correctly, I do believe the chance of death was around 5% ish, depending on your autoimmune, blah blah blah, and a bunch of other factors. So like,
well, even if you were 70 plus, it was less.
If
it was 70 plus, then it was under 4%, and those under the age of 18. At least in the state of Missouri, is that I think something like over the course of 2 years, it was like 12 kids under the age of 18 who died, compared to something like in over a course of 1 year in Kansas City, there were 56 homicides.
Oh, apples and oranges.
Okay.
Homicides versus pandemic.
Anyway, so I was hesitant to come to share this with y'all, but here we are. So the other day, I went to my local gym, and I have 2 gym memberships. One is a fun gym membership. The other one is the less fun, like pumping iron and then climbing. And anyway, so I went to this climbing gym, and I climbed, and it was about 3-4 o'clock, and that's like all these kids are just running around, a bunch of families, and I was going to leave, and I filled up my water bottle, and then I forgot my sweatshirt, so I start heading back, and I about run into this shoulders twice the size of mine, sideburns down to. Why are you sighing?
Come on, just get it over with.
All I'm saying. This is all I. Okay, jawline sharper than mine, and then I turn around and I see them walk right into the women's locker room. So I have to be clear: is that this may be a biological woman that may have been taking testosterone. This may have been a woman, and I'm just an asshole.
I think that's it. I think you got it.
Yeah.
I think you got it.
But that's not the thing that I wanted to like actually hone in on. What I wanted to hone in on is after this happened, is that I thought it was necessary to go and speak to the staff. And so whenever I went to go speak to the staff, I said, hey, I believe that a grown man just walked into the women's locker room. The staff was actually really sweet. She was kind. She came around the counter, and the other one kind of just gave me a nasty look, but she came around the counter, and she's like, oh, I think that they were trans female. And I said, no, I'm pretty sure it was a grown man. And so what that told me right there is that the policy of that location was that trans females were allowed, which are biological men. We can agree on that, yeah?
I mean, not really, but kind of, sure.
Okay.
For the sake of brevity.
Okay. So at that moment, then it was like, okay, so your policy here is to allow trans female, which are biological men, to go into the women's restroom. And that wasn't enough. So I've been going to the gym for like 4 years. And so I actually called my pastors, and I was just like, do I go home and do I just, type in like a, put it into a review and post it on their Facebook page? What do I do? And actually one of them was like, convicted me hardcore and was like, you just left after that happened. You didn't stay. So I'm kind of shameful on that end. But after about a week or about 2 days is that I ended up typing up an email and then emailing them directly. I had the owner's emails. And then also the one of them is I think with the marketing, I don't know, but she sent him an email. Just was like, I just want to know your policy. And there was no response. I ended up reaching out to some guys that actually work at that location, and one of them gave me no response. Another one I met with, and nothing really came out of it. I waited a week, and then I was like, well, okay, then I'm going to share this.
Now, time to put them on blast on the Sam Daily Show.
Well, I haven't actually said which gym it is.
Oh.
What I want to do is actually roll into is that there are actually several gyms around this area that are actually allowing biological men to enter into women's locker rooms. In fact, I had Anarcho Josh over here contact a few of them, get on their websites, kind of check out their policies, and we'll get to it, what he found, but I think that people would actually be fairly surprised to find out that I think a majority of the gyms around the Kansas City area are
inclusionary.
Allowing biological men to enter into the women's locker room. So go ahead and take the floor.
I mean, for all you LGBTQ people out there who want to go to an affirming gym, or all of you transphobic people who feed into the fear-mongering about trans people, here's a list of gyms that are inclusive. City Gym, Metro KC Fitness, Orange Theory, Freight House Fitness, and Body Fit. Just a small list of gyms that you could go to.
Those are all gyms in the Kansas City area that allow biological men to walk into a women's locker room. Now, since we have Anarcho Josh here, we can't say that there's nobody who thinks that this is that there are people who find this just peachy keen.
I think the majority of people in America are pro trans rights. Just saying. Pretty sure.
I don't think so.
Well, we can look up the statistics. How about you do your own research at home, huh?
I'm not going to do that. What I am going to talk about is that that you believe that biological men should be able to go into a women's locker room. Why?
Who cares? Why not?
Do you believe that biological men should be able to?
I don't think we should have I don't see what the point is. If you're just changing clothes and not being a creep, I don't think it matters what locker room you go into.
So you don't believe that that young girls should have that that ability or that privacy inside of a locker room?
There's no privacy in a locker room. There never is privacy in a locker room. You want privacy, go into a stall. I believe there are laws that prohibit camera equipment inside of a locker room. Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
Do you believe that camera equipment or that businesses should be able to film or record inside of a locker room?
No, probably not.
Okay, why?
Seems inappropriate.
Why is it inappropriate?
Why is it inappropriate? Because people don't want to be recorded while they're naked. That's probably why. Because I think the majority of people understand that they don't want to be recorded while they're naked. What do you mean?
So they don't. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
Most people don't want to be looked at while they're naked, but gotta change clothes when we have locker rooms.
Sure.
And so people are okay with going into locker rooms and changing clothes. Sure, then go for it. If you understand that you have trans inclusive policies at whatever gym you go to that has a locker room, you might find some trans people in there. Majority of the time, if not pretty much all the time, they're not going to do anything. They're going to leave you alone. They're going to change their clothes, take a shower, and then leave.
Okay,
which is totally fine, and I don't see what your issue is with it.
but you said that a majority of people aren't okay with being filmed in a locker room.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Right. And so why is that? It's because there's somebody who's watching, right?
Or possibly recording.
Okay, who is watching?
Someone you can't see. That's the problem. That's the difference, is that the trans person in there, you can see them. You can see if they're watching you or not, or being a creep. The person on the camera could be jerking it as hard as they can behind that camera, and you would never know. That's the difference.
They could be, though, right?
Yeah, it's the possibility.
It's the possibility.
Sure.
So do you agree that there's a possibility that a biological man that walks into a women's locker room could be a perverted, delusional?
I would say the same thing about a woman who walks into a woman's locker room. Could be a perverted, delusional, whatever.
What are the chances of those two? I mean, like, of a woman who's going into a locker room versus
I don't know.
a man walking into a locker room.
I don't know.
Okay. So you're fine with biological men who walk into the women's locker room. What if they have a penis?
What if they have a penis?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't think of. Who cares, dude? Why does it matter? What
So
if they have a penis?
So you don't think that a biological man that changes in a women's locker room, exposing his genitalia, you don't believe that that's wrong?
Well, is he like helicoptering it to all the ladies, or is he just changing his clothes?
No, he's just taking off his clothes and then he's showing his genitalia to like 5-year-olds. Is that wrong?
Aren't women doing the same thing in locker rooms?
Yeah, but it's women.
So?
No, I'm. Listen, buddy, you're on the hot seat.
Ooh,
You're okay
it's
with
hot here.
you're okay with exposing male parts to 4-year-olds. Is that?
That's up to the parents. If they don't want their kids to go into that locker room, then that's on them. That's not my decision. I don't care. I don't have kids.
Okay, but if there was a place that was let's just call it Man's Junk. That's the name of the place, is Man's Junk.
Okay.
Okay. And at Man's Junk it's just men who are exposing their genitalia to 4-year-olds. Is that okay with you?
Probably not.
Okay, why?
Well, I mean, like, that's the whole point of the business, is to show 4-year-olds wing-wangs. I mean, I don't know. You can just, like...
What's wrong with it, though?
What's wrong with it? Probably the pedophilic undertones.
Why do you assume that?
Why do I assume that? Because that's the whole point, is to show your genitalia to children. That's not the point of a locker room. The point of a locker room is to change your clothes, not to expose yourself to children.
But the point of a locker room is not just to change your clothes, but it's also to change your clothes in privacy.
No, because there's no privacy in a locker room, Sam. Because people everywhere can see your butt. They're all in there showing their butts to each other. Not really. More like just changing their clothes. But if they look around, they'll probably see a butt. Or maybe some genitals. That's what happens. It's a locker room.
So let me turn it on the other end here. So a biological female walks into a boys' locker room.
Okay.
And she exposes her breasts in there.
Okay.
To children.
To children.
Yeah. Do you think that that's okay?
Is she being a creep about it?
I would say
is
that.
She like
I would say that
flopping titties in children's faces, or is she just changing clothes?
I would say that.
And where are the parents of those children? Do they have anything to say about it?
Well, I think it's less on the child at that point, and it's more. Well, it would be more on the business, but it'd be heavily on that individual. The child at that point would be a victim.
A victim.
Yes.
Do you think a child is a victim when they go into a locker room at school?
I don't think that there's...
Do you think a child's a victim when they go into a locker room at all and see some genitals?
If it's the opposite sex,
Why
yes.
does that matter?
I don't know. Why does it?
Why does it? I'm asking you. You're the one who's so up in arms about this. I don't care. Why does it matter to you that the gender of genitals or whatever that they see makes a difference? What difference does that make?
Because it's sexually provocative.
Is it?
Yes.
Or is it just a naked person?
No, it's entire. It's.
I think
if somebody exposes themselves, this is the problem, is that if somebody exposes their genitalia to somebody else, then
like intent's important here.
Yeah, I understand that intent is very important, but you have to take into context everything that's going on around, right?
I agree.
So
context is important.
So if there is a woman or a man that's going into the opposite gender's bathroom and then they're just shedding their clothes, I think that's sexual intent.
Part of that context
or it's delusion.
They're trans. That's part of the context. So if a trans woman goes into a woman's locker room and just changes clothes, even if there's children around, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Say that again?
If a trans woman goes into a woman's locker room and changes clothes, even if there's children around, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's all they're doing.
Okay, so what qualifies somebody to be a trans woman?
They identify as one.
So anybody can identify as one.
Well, it's kind of a complicated thing that we can talk all day about. I mean, depending on who you're talking to, presentation is also part of it. Like you at least you could inside feel a certain way, but if you're not presenting a certain way, it may be inappropriate, but there's a lot of nuance there that would take a while to dissect.
Okay, so what you're saying is that there's no way to tell if a man
feels like a woman inside. No, not really. You kind of have to ask them.
So we're going to have people outside of the bathroom asking.
No, I think you should just.
I'm just wondering, when do you see that there's a legitimate issue here, in that there are going to be grown ass men who just wear a ponytail and then walk into the women's restroom.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah,
they don't identify. But they don't identify as trans female.
You know what? I don't care, because they go in and they take a shit and then they leave. Are they being a creep? That's what I care about. It doesn't matter what gender you are and what bathroom you go into. There's unisex bathrooms. In Japan, there's unisex bathhouses. Nobody cares. In cultures, nobody cares if a kid see adults naked. They don't care because they don't see it as sexual. You're seeing that as sexual.
So is it a good thing? Is it a good thing that children see?
Good and bad is subjective, Sam. Is it not? At least to some degree.
You say that good and bad is subjective?
To some degree. Sure, if we're gonna go on extremes, maybe not. But in moral gray areas, which there's plenty of, it's pretty subjective.
By what standard?
The subjective standards. What do you mean, what standard?
I mean, who set that standard?
The subject set the standard for good and bad.
So you set the standard of what's good and bad.
Oh my God, we're going down the good and bad debate. So, you have this inherent belief that there is objective good and objective
first
bad,
of all,
and there's no gray area in anything, which creates a very lack of nuance kind of outlook upon the world. Everything's either good or bad, right?
Yes.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Is this battery good or bad, Sam? Is the existence of this battery good inherently or bad inherently?
Right now it's not plugged into it's not being used. So it's probably a bad thing, because I genuinely believe that beauty is objective as well. So that, hanging out on my desk, it actually makes my desk look pretty tacky. So I would say it's objectively bad.
Okay. So it's objectively bad until it's not. Until you put it in a remote and then it has a function?
Okay, but you're talking about like an object. I'm talking about morals and ethics, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So okay, let's
unlike the instance of a man walking into a man exposing their genitalia to a 4-year-old, that's bad. And I can say that's objectively bad.
Okay, sure.
And you, on the other hand, is saying it's okay.
I don't care.
So
Like I said, in Japan, there's unisex bathhouses where children go. Who cares? They don't see it as sexual. You do. Subjective opinion. You can sit there and say Japan is bad. Sure, that doesn't make you right. And especially if you're taking the subjective black and white, lack of nuance to everything, and people. And you say people are good and bad? Are there objectively good people and objectively bad people? And everyone falls into that one or other category?
Oh, I'm not saying that. You're not.
No.
I'm not the judge.
You're not the judge. Or are all of us the judge? Or is there a judge at all?
That's exactly what you believe.
Yeah.
Is that you believe that if truth is subjective, then anybody can deem something good or bad.
Didn't say truth is subjective. I said there is a big part of the duality between good and bad, which are concepts that human beings made up, that is gray. That is not black or white, good or bad.
Walk me down that. People made up what good and bad.
If nobody exists, where is good and bad? If no one is there to point at good and bad, there is no good and bad. Same thing with like other concepts, like love. If no one is there to love, then there is no love. Love does not exist. Does that make sense to you?
Sorry, I was reading the comments.
What are they saying, Sam?
We have Owen that's saying, Sam, say my name on stream and I will donate $10,000. Owen Rossi King. So let's go. Could you say that too, just in case? Like,
what is it?
It's a requirement that both of us say Owen Rossi King.
Owen Rossi King?
Keen.
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 Owen Rossi King.
All right, we expect that $10,000 donation.
Or you're going to hell for lying.
Or it was a poor joke.
Because then you're a liar, and that makes you objectively bad.
Josh sees no difference between children changing after PE and grown men exposing themselves to kids.
I see no difference between children changing after PE and grown-ups changing after workouts. They're both just changing clothes.
You heard it here first.
Kids can be a creep. Adults can be a creep. Don't be a creep. That's all it is. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. So don't be a creep. Just say that you're a trans female.
Yeah. Do whatever you want, man.
Let's see what else is here. Josh, wrong for this. Is JG is what he says. If you ask Josh to define a woman, he'll just say he's not an expert, but he'll insist you prove him wrong on a non-existent argument. Let's try it.
The concept of man and woman is a social construct that we choose to care about. There could be a whole other separate reality next to ours. Let's call it Earth 2. In Earth 2, they don't care about man or woman. They care about littles and bigs. If you are under 5'9", then you are considered little. And therefore, you have to go to little exclusive places, and then the big people go to big exclusive places. Do we have that here? No. That's a social construct that they care about that we don't care about. So here, when it comes to the definition of things about man and woman, here at Earth 2, they don't care. They're like, what are you talking about? That's not like, I don't, the concept to them would be so foreign. They'd have no idea what you're talking about. On this hand, over here, if I go around and be like, man, you're a little, wow, why aren't you going to the little store? And they're looking at me like I'm a psychopath. It's the same kind of concept. It doesn't matter. It only matters because we care about it, not because it's like this objective definition of a thing. Does that make sense to you, Sam?
No, not really.
Of course not.
Sometimes after, okay, I'm not reading that, Owen. Josh would literally be shot by the founding fathers if they heard his garbage takes. Thank you, Nicholas, for commenting.
I will happily shoot at them back. Racist bastards.
He does believe in guns. He believes that he should have the right to bear arms in defense of his own life. But whenever it's a 4-year-old and seeing genitalia, 4-year-old, no. There's no going to the defense for the 4-year-old. Josh would literally
Fuck
be
them kids.
I told you not to.
You said not to use it every other sentence. This is my first one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Josh, Anarcho Josh. You can tweet at him at Anarcho Josh. Did you ever make that Twitter?
Yes, I have a Twitter.
Yeah, but did you change the handle to at Anarcho Josh?
Did I? I don't know.
Okay, we'll figure that out. I'm gonna run through these comments here. All people are objectively bad. Owen Rossi King says.
Oh yeah, because you're a Christian, right? And so we're all born with sin or whatever.
I would agree.
Yes, Anarcho Josh is my handle on Twitter,
Okay,
but it's
so
at Joshua Waugh, and then Anarcho Josh is the
okay. At Joshua Waugh. That's
Waugh.
Yeah, so if you want to tweet your hate towards him, no, I'm kidding. Be very respectful, please.
Do whatever you want. It's the internet. No one's gonna stop you.
Well, he does have a fragile heart, so let's.
I'm a pretty emotional guy, yeah.
Josh would literally be shot by the founding fathers if they heard this.
Yeah.
All people. I wish Sam did super chats so I could make him say rude things to guests. I think we can do it. I don't.
You don't need super chats. You just tell him to say stuff. We'll probably say it.
No, that's not true. There's a few things on here that I'm just not going to say. Sam pulled a clay. Earth 2 does not exist. Get real. There could be a separate reality if you require a separate reality to make your argument. Your argument is gay and retarded and gay. What the heck is he talking about?
I just got
clipped. I guess there's a lot of out of context clips that are going to be made out of this.
I don't doubt it. It's fine. I don't care.
By Josh's own thinking, the contents of his skull are simply social constructs as well. Only God's objective morality places value in every person who was made the Lord's image.
God is a social construct. We made him up.
Yeah, but
people in Earth 2 don't even have a concept of God.
It's funny when you look in the mirror.
I try to avoid mirrors.
Anyway, so the next thing we were going to talk about is the story. Yeah. So anyway, to wrap this up is that Anarcho Josh hates 4-year-olds and wants them to see genitalia. That's fine. Actually, that's not fine. That's not okay.
And Sam is a fascist who is a transphobe.
Yeah, that's sure. But to wrap everything up is that, yes, I walked into ROKC climbing gym. I believe what I saw is a man walking into the women's locker room. I asked the staff, what's the policy on this? They told me that trans female, that's fine. Trans female. I reached out to the owner. The owner did not say anything and respond to my email. I reached out to a couple people who work there and didn't get really anywhere from doing that. And so I felt it was my obligation to share this with people of Kansas City and let them know. And after doing a little bit more research is that we've also found that Orange Theory, what are the other ones?
Oh, I don't remember. Hold on.
Planet Fitness. I don't know about Planet Fitness.
I'm
surprised you didn't call them.
Because it's a big... If it's a big business, it's probably trans inclusive. City Gym, Metro, KC Fitness, Orange Theory, Freight House Fitness, and Body Fit.
All of those gyms in Kansas City are allowing biological men to go into the locker room. So you can't say that ROKC is the only one. What I think that we need to do from here on out is, if that's a concern, which if I had children, it would be a concern for me. If Anarcho Josh ever found any woman that would stick around and marry him and have children with him.
Marriage, gross. Ugh, and I don't want kids.
Yeah, then maybe he'd have a change of heart on this. But there are legitimate people who are totally fine with biological men who walk into the women's locker room. And it is here in Kansas City.
And they walk amongst you every day. They're your neighbors, your family, your friends, and you don't know. You have to like interrogate. You have to figure out who's on your side and who's not on your side, who's against you. It's called fear mongering. Stop it.
Or you just, if you're concerned with, men watching your kids change, then whatever.
Next subject, please. Let's move on.
All right, the next thing we're going to be talking about is wars. You have done extensive research.
No,
I don't know why you've done.
I watched one YouTube video and then took notes on all these wars, and it really, I'm not even like super prepared because I'd like to research a lot of these wars that I don't know, and a lot of conflicts that have happened that our education system fails to actually teach us.
Yeah, so basically what all of that gobbledygook was, Anarcho Josh is going to talk about wars.
What do you think our longest war is?
The longest war that we ever had. I'm pretty sure I overheard you say something about the Indians.
Yeah. So we were at war with the Native Americans, specifically one tribe of Native American, the Apache.
Them dang Apaches.
Them dang Apaches.
Well,
all the way up to the 1900s, 1951 or 1851 to 1900. What was
the Apache tribe doing wrong? What happened to the Apache tribe?
What was the founding fathers doing wrong?
History of each. So, where did the Apache? They lived historically in the high mountains, sheltered in the waters, valleys, deep canyons, and deserts. This area is now the east. Where's the juicy part? Can I just
you want a juicy
Control
part?
F and then look up child sacrifice? And then, or maybe skinning heads, or like. Of course, this is on Native. This is on
genocide.
Native. No, this is on nativehope.org. Like, I'm not gonna find that. I would almost be willing to bet that they were the Apache tribe was legitimately.
And so they deserve to be genocided, right? Their way of life should be destroyed, right? Because they were bad people, and the colonizers, our founding fathers, they were good people, right?
I would say if they are sacrificing children.
I would say if you don't think the white people who came here didn't kill children?
No, they were Puritans, and they
took their children to church.
They loved life,
and they loved each other, and they loved all life, including the Native American lives and the children of those Native Americans.
No, like the whole reason why they were going to America was to get away from
a tyrannical government.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they started another one.
They started another one. You heard it here live, folks.
Yep.
They started another one. What was wrong with the Apaches? Why did they go to war with them?
Because they were colonizing them. They were genociding them. We wiped out the American buffalo, so the Native Americans who used them for their food source starved to death. That includes the children.
So what?
We were like the government like put out bounties on what do you mean? What do you mean? So what? Are you kidding me? Dude, this is why.
No, seriously. Okay. Why does that matter?
Why does a genocide of an entire nation of people matter?
Yeah.
Because killing people is bad, Sam. Wouldn't you say that that's bad?
Well, I'd say murder is bad.
Murder's bad. So, in the context of a bunch of people who are not from where you're from come in and then just start murdering everyone, yeah, I'd say that's bad. Okay. And I would understand why you'd want to go to war with them, regardless of whatever traditions you have and whatever traditions they have. War's bad, Sam. Okay, you want to talk about objective good and bad? Yeah. Don't you think war is probably objectively bad? Out of all the extremes that we could use as examples here.
Yeah, but I thought you just said that there is no subjective.
No,
it's
and this is why you don't listen to me, Sam. I said there's a big middle gray area. We can talk about extremes as far as like torturing at babies for one's amusement is bad.
Why?
And
why?
Dedicating your entire life to serving other people is good.
No, I want that one. I want that one. Torturing children. Why is that bad?
Because you're causing harm to another person.
Okay, we can go back to the locker room thing and say you don't believe that it's causing any harm to a child.
I agree. I don't think that's causing any harm. Again, Japan, public bathhouses. Okay. They don't believe it's causing harm.
Okay, so what you're saying is that your ultimate authority is the Japanese spas?
No, the ultimate authority that I have is me, Sam.
Okay, so everything that you say is right.
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so then how can you trust that source?
I can't trust anything. Can you?
Yeah, I can trust that. Tomorrow, I'll likely wake up, and I'll be able to go to work.
And
I'll
how
be
do
able
you
to-
not know that you're not sitting in a mental asylum right now in a planet where the sun is always shining and you're rocking back and forth, mumbling to yourself about trans people?
Faith.
Faith? You mean you don't know and you're just taking it on faith? That means that you are blindly trusting things.
Isn't that exactly what you're doing?
No. Because I have a healthy degree of skepticism to everything that I believe.
So you don't you
And
you
if I
don't
was-
take you don't take anything on faith.
I have faith that this chair is going to support my fat ass for the next 2 minutes at least. That's faith. I don't 100% trust that, but I majoritively trust that, sure.
Okay, why is that?
Because I've sat in chairs before. I've sat in this chair before.
How do you sat
Previous
in that chair?
experience. Whatever. I've sat in chairs. I know what a chair, I sit, and usually supports my weight. So I have faith that chairs support my weight.
Owen Rossi says that's not faith.
What's not faith? Be more specific, Owen. Where's my $10,000, Owen?
Yeah, where is that $10,000? I'm actually curious about that too. But he's, I believe, referring to the chair.
The chair. That's not faith? How is that not faith? I don't 100% trust that this chair is going to support my weight. I'm kind of a big boy. But still sit in it. That's faith. I have faith that I'll wake up tomorrow morning. I might not. I'm not going to say that with 100% certainty, but that's still faith. I have faith that I exist or that you exist.
Yeah, I don't know if you're using that word correctly.
I don't
either.
think you're using faith correctly. How about that? I also don't think that you're using all sorts of things correctly, but...
I'm using this chair correctly.
Is it because you're sitting in it?
With great posture.
What
I'm
is
trying.
sitting, Sam?
Well, that is a good question.
What is it, huh? Define it. Define it right now.
Define sitting.
Mm-hmm.
It is, that's tough. Buttocks placed in,
You don't have to... No,
shape.
not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Yeah, you could be Indian sitting,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Sitting
cross-legged.
like the Japanese, maybe, on your knee.
What is this obsession with you and the
I don't know.
Japanese?
I'm watching this animator on YouTube. He went to Japan recently.
Owen would like to know what your facial regimen is like.
Facial regimen?
Yes.
I wash it. And then, I don't know, put on some nice smelly beard stuff sometimes. Mm-hmm.
What kind of beard stuff?
I don't know, some beard balm thing. It just smells nice.
What kind is it?
I don't remember.
Was it a gift?
Yeah.
No, a gif. Not like a gift, but a gif.
No.
Was it a gif?
No.
Yeah,
What?
I was just wondering,
No.
you know.
It's like a object, not like a moving, repeating little video on
Are
the
you
internet.
defining what a gif is?
I'm just telling you that's not what it is.
I
I
don't.
was making sure that you knew because it was a really strange question.
It looks like our chat really wants to know, what do you use to shave with?
A razor. Like clippers. Like hair clippers. I don't take a razor to my face. It creates razor burns and ingrown hairs, and I don't like it.
Owen says, Sam stole my shoes and my baseball cap.
Okay, is
And
that
I
worth
hate
$10,000? Take it off the debt, Owen. Sorry. I'm
Yeah,
really mad
dude.
at Owen.
Yeah, you told us that you'd give us $10,000. Is that the case, or are you beefing? You just trying to start beef with me? Anyway, wars. What else? What else is what are the other wars that?
What do you want?
Well, you brought up the
how
whole
many wars
entire
do you-
Apache.
How many
like-
wars do you think we've been in? Because really, that was the whole point. Is that most people think we've been in under 10, maybe. What? There's the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I and II, I guess. We went to Vietnam once, I think, and I don't know, maybe there was one other one or something. And that's most Americans' understanding of U.S. historical wars, and that surprisingly is not the case. Yeah, I mean, I could just sit here and list off all the ones that I wrote down. Like I said, I didn't do a whole hell of a lot of research, but like my whole point is that we're all dumb.
Just give me something better than the Apache tribe and their, going to war with America. Was that all you had to say on wars? I had like this whole entire, I put like little dashes next to each one of these. I was expecting him to come prepared. I apologize on Anarcho Josh's behalf. It's very unfortunate that I asked him to, cover one topic and he can't even.
You didn't even ask me to cover that topic.
I didn't even ask him to cover that topic.
I said, hey, I took some notes on some wars and we might be able to talk about that a little bit. And
yeah, but
so
you still
far
can't tell me why it's objectively bad. Like, who cares? Under your worldview, like, who cares?
Anyone who's ever felt the effects of war, I'm pretty sure they care.
Yeah, but you've never felt the effects of war.
Not necessarily, no. And yet I still care. Wild, huh? So I guess you don't have to feel the effects of war and still give it goodness. We lost the Battle of Red Clouds, 1866 to 1868, against the Cheyenne. What is that? Akapoa and Lakota tribe.
Acapulco.
I don't know what that is.
So you're telling me that you watched a YouTube video on American
it was just
Wars
like a
and just wrote
timeline.
down some.
Yeah, I was just.
Do you have any other notes in that book?
So I can remember. Do I have any other notes in this book?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about how sheriffs are just the worst? I have a thing about how pennies are bad. We could talk about.
I met a penny one time.
What?
I met a penny one time. Her name was Penny.
Oh. Do you guys like have sex or like become friends or
no, after
enemies?
she told me her name was Penny.
And did you like is there anything interesting about this story, or you just met a penny once?
We went out one time and she just seemed pretty cheap.
I'm not going to laugh at that, but that was a good joke. But I'm not going to laugh at that. No.
All right, what else? What other notes do you have?
I mean, what do you want?
Why
Sam?
murder is wrong.
Why murder is wrong.
Yeah.
Look it up. What is murder? Can you define murder?
Unjustified killing.
Unjustified killing? Unjustified killing?
Is it?
So, do you think the genocide of the Native Americans was justified?
What?
All those Native Americans who died to colonize our hands.
If they were committing child sacrifice, yes.
Oh, but if they weren't, then it was unjustified.
Well, do you believe that it's justifiable to kill somebody that murders a child?
No.
Why?
Oh, I think they should be punished, but I don't think murder is ever okay.
Okay, why? Why is murder bad?
Because it's objectively harming another person, another subject.
Okay, but why so?
Do you care if I were to stab you? Would you care?
Yeah, but that's the thing is that how do you know that?
It's called empathy,
I guess what I'm asking
Sam.
is like, how do you know that's bad?
It's called empathy. Because I know it hurts when I get stabbed, so I don't want other people to stab me. So that means that other people probably feel the same way when they get stabbed. I know that's kind of an assumption based off of faith. I think it's pretty good, though. I'm pretty sure if I was to ask anyone if they wanted to get stabbed, I'm pretty sure over 95% of the answers would be no. Just saying. We'll talk a little bit about economics 101 or landlords.
So what you're saying is, no, I have this now. So what it sounds like is you believe that morality, like determining what is good and bad is, I guess that does make sense. Is that you believe it as kind of like democracy? Is that if a majority says that it's bad, then it's bad? Is that right?
Not like objectively, but it's a pretty all right rule of thumb to at least start your reasoning on. Don't you think? I mean, like, well, the majority of people think getting shot in the face is not good.
Oh, I don't think it was that way in Russia or
You don't think
Germany
so?
or
You don't think
China.
that people? You think people, Russia, Germany, and China are all like, "Whoopee! Can't wait to get shot in the face today. I can't wait. I can't wait to shoot other people in the face, and it's gonna be a good day to get shot in the face."
No, I think that there's Christian values that are there,
Mhm.
but like Russia in the time of that genocide, and Germany in the time of that genocide, and China's kind of doing a genocide right now. Nobody's really talking about it, which is kind of strange. But
I don't think you're using the term genocide correctly.
oh,
Well, Germany did do a genocide,
where
but-
they are killing masses of people. They're killing people because they have COVID. Like, they're killing people because they're Muslim and Christian.
Mm-hmm.
There is
And trans kids are dying because of Christian Republican senators passing anti-trans bills. So
Are you talking about the one that
any of
went
them?
to
Jesus Christ, there's so
you're
many,
talking-
dude.
It sounds like the one that was most on the news is the one who ended up shooting a school in a school.
In recent months, how about you have a memory span longer than 24 hours?
Like, they went inside of a school and then they
Uh-huh.
shot
And
children.
think
and
of how
then
many white
they
people.
were shot.
How many white people have shot up schools? Man, there's a lot of those. I think white people might be a problem. Don't you? I mean, they're just going in and shooting up schools.
Yeah, I'm afraid of more people like your view on this, what is good and bad,
Uh-huh.
is that if there was a mass of those people, but then like they had it wrong.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think about you, is if there's a mass of people like you who have your beliefs on what's good and what's bad and what that means, and then they're all wrong.
Yeah, but mine's actually based on like
You're based on
there's
right-wing fear-mongering,
well,
not
no,
objective facts done by, studies done by scientists showing that trans kids kill themselves way less if they actually have trans care or shit like that. No. It's based off the Bible.
Owen says, Sam, you made the penny joke and I snorted water all over my desk. I appreciate that, Owen. I'm so glad that I can make you laugh like that. Seriously, in the mornings, what I do is I write down jokes. I write them down for about an hour and a half. And at the top of that piece of paper, what it says is, might make Owen laugh. And I just write for like an hour. And that penny joke was actually one of those jokes. So in case you were curious, now you know. Owen also messages, we've got our biggest fan right here is Owen Rossi. You met Owen, didn't you?
Which one's Owen?
Owen from the Owen Daily Show.
Was that the curly-haired kid?
No.
No, that was someone else. Owen.
And he also says, no, they aren't. Transsexuals are one of the safest demographics in the U.S.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. What's he talking about?
I don't know.
Safest
You
demographics?
think that transgenders are like some kind of like they're being hunted?
They're just people, and they kind of are being hunted. Well, like by politicians and their policies.
Like what? Oh yeah, that was something I wanted to bring up. Is that this is the last thing that we're going. This is the last. I'm gonna have to actually write this on here. I'm gonna go ahead and write it on there. Is White House. Well, I don't want to write it all out, but I'll just go ahead and put white just for short. White House. The White House came out and said something about these hormones, the gender blockers. Would you say some things while I find this?
So
Preferably
there's
intellectual.
a bunch of right-wing fear-mongering about all sorts of stuff. I mean, like back in the day, it was gay people, and they kind of stopped harping on that because
Anyway, okay,
it wasn't
so
popular with.
Okay. You're good. Okay. All right. So, Indiana banned puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and gender transition surgeries for children. They asked Jen Psaki this. This is the one little bit of news here. Okay, is that Jen Psaki said something? It's something for the child to decide. So, real quick, what's your take on that? Children should be able to decide.
Well, I have notes that doctors. Hold on. I think the lowest recommended age for that. Oh no, wait, that was bottom surgery. My take is that the child should decide because again, there's been studies showing that it improves their mental health when they have access to trans-inclusionary medical assistance, including hormone blockers and, gender therapy and stuff like that.
Okay, and so at what age?
I mean, man, what was it? Really, it's just any time before puberty. Just like 12, probably 11, 10. Actually, probably closer to 9 to 8, because that's usually when puberty starts for some people.
What do you think happens if they don't?
Don't what?
If they don't transition?
Then they're more likely to kill themselves.
Okay, so it's a matter of life and death.
Yeah, actually.
So why would they even ask for consent of the child if it's life or death?
What do you mean?
Like if
the child has to ask for it.
No, if it's life or death, is that you're going to do whatever it is to save that person, right?
Right.
Okay, so
yeah.
Whether or not they say, no, I'm good or not.
No, not necessarily. I don't think it's my job to, like, lock someone away because they tried to kill themselves. Like, I'm going to try to stop it, sure, but, like, also...
So, like if you find somebody on the street that's shot, and you're like, I'm going to take you to the hospital, and they're like... No.
Yeah, then I'm going to respect that.
You're going to respect that? You're just going to let them lie there?
Yeah, hospital bills are expensive.
Okay, what if it's your child?
Well, that's different. That's my child.
I don't see much of a difference, but I guess there is a difference there. But so you're saying that if it was your child,
is not going to have to pay for the hospital bill.
Yeah, but if your child was shot and they were bleeding out, you would regardless of what they consent to, you would take them to the hospital?
Yeah.
Because it would save their life?
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying here is that, so why would you ask the child for their consent if it's life-saving?
Sam, what are you implying that, like, the leftist agenda is to force kids to be trans?
No, what I'm saying is that you just made the claim that it is life-saving.
It is for kids who want it.
Okay, so then why would you ask for the child's consent at that
Because
point?
It's important if they want it. That's part of it. That's where it starts. Do they want it? Yes or no? That's the consent part as well. Do they want it and consent to it? Yes, then give it to them. Because then that will make sure that they are way less likely to kill themselves if you do that. What's so hard to understand about that?
So it just comes down to consent. Okay, so what if a child wants to have sex with a 30-year-old man?
Apples and oranges.
How is that?
Totally different things.
How is that?
Because one involves a 30-year-old man and one doesn't?
If you give a child the right to consent to chopping off their genitalia,
if you give the child the right to pick what they eat for dinner, where's the line drawn, huh? What if do you want chicken nuggets or do you want mac and cheese? You're gonna give them a choice, or you're just gonna cook them something? Who cares, dude? Why does that matter?
Well, it doesn't seem like you care very much.
No, you're right. I don't care about anything at all. I'm just an
How old does Josh think surgeons are? 14? Transsexuals are necessarily mentally ill and likely suicidal. That's what they said about the gay. Because I'm just reading the comments. Okay, could you please?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Like you have to understand.
No, go ahead.
Hours,
I'm sorry.
Every hour in the morning, I sit down and I write jokes that I think that Owen Rossi Keene would laugh at. He laughed at one of them. Okay, and then now he's asking questions, so I'm going to respect him.
And so do that.
Okay. Transsexuality isn't a race. It is a psychiatric condition that makes those suffering kill themselves at remarkable rates. Transsexuals are necessarily mentally ill and likely suicidal, and they necessarily view people who don't drink the Kool-Aid as mutually exclusive with their existence. How does Josh think surgeons are? How old do they think surgeons are? 14?
Yes, surgeons are 14. And also it's ironic that they use the term drink the Kool-Aid, which came from a cult, which was like religion, and talking about an atheist. And you're the ones who are in the cult worldwide or American-wide cult. of Christianity, the right-wing conservative Christianity. That's a cult. Ironic. That's all.
Well, I can. Okay.
Also, again, they use the term mental illness that causes them to kill themselves and blah, blah, blah against the gays.
Fun fact, the song Living on a Prayer is actually about the trans suicide rate. And they say, whoa, we're halfway
Don't
there.
get us DMCA'd.
Whoa. Do, 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 do. Oh, I get it. Do you get it?
I guess I get it, but also it's stupid.
Wow, Jonestown Massacre, Christianity. This guy is such an intellectual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cult and religion is there's not a whole lot of actually separating them, or is there?
Maybe on the next episode we will discuss that about how the LGBTQAI plus is more of a cult than any other cult ever to be cultish.
Sure.
Could we do that?
Yeah, let's do it, Sam.
Okay, so
Let's
we'll have a week
discuss
to
cults.
prepare.
Yep.
We have a week to prepare, and then we're going to go ahead and discuss whether or not.
What's the difference between a cult and a religion and an ideology? And does the trans ideology fit into that? Does the Christian ideology fit into that? Does any ideology fit into the cults versus religion debate here?
Okay.
Sounds fun.
So with that said, is that we appreciate you tuning into the talking about Italy, listening to the story I had to share, listening to Anarcho Josh go on about say the word genitalia as many times as he did, and
I think I said genocide more than genitalia. Actually, I think you said genitalia more than I did.
Genitalia genocide actually sounds.
Genitalia and Genocide's my favorite raw screamy metal band.
Yeah.
Along with Infant Annihilator, which actually is a raw screamy metal band that I listen to.
And that's wow. Those. Huh.
Infant Annihilator.
So Infant Annihilator and Genitalia Genocide. That actually should have been the name of this whole entire episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to change it after this. He's laughing at it. I think it's sad that I put that together, but I believe that Genitalia Genocide is objectively wrong. Anarcho Josh does not. I also believe that annihilating infants is objectively wrong, but Anarcho Josh doesn't.
Rock and roll.
I don't think this is. I honestly don't think that this is actually even a straw man. You can kind of go back and watch the episode if you don't believe me. And then the White House is the child should decide whenever it comes to removing the genitalia. So we live in a crazy world. We live in a wild time, and I would encourage everybody to go to church.
And I would encourage everyone to do research.
Yes, and after extensive research, come to the conclusion that there is a framework to all of this, is that there is an actual design to all of this, and everything that people claim that they see is good is it's actually taken right out of scripture. Like, are you cool with people having sex with animals? I forgot what your views are on this.
Probably shouldn't. Seems a little messed up, yeah.
People shouldn't have. Why? Because that has nothing to do with you, right? Because that's your whole entire thing.
An animal is still,
well, it's harming somebody else.
An animal still is subject because it has a consciousness.
But you don't know the intent of the person. You claim that you can't know the intent of that person
they're fucking
or
an
the
animal. I think their intent is pretty clear.
Yeah, so why is it wrong?
Because an animal is still a subject.
Okay, tune in next time when we go in a little bit deeper with, is it okay to have sex with animals?
No, we're talking about cults.
Josh.
Remember?
Well, talking about cults and
you know what? I'll do some research about the
like,
cults and their bestiality. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we end the show?
Yeah, we can end the show. All right. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you. Tell them how much you appreciate them.
I love you so much.
That was actually really weird. I was gonna close on you, but I'm actually gonna close on me now,
Making our
so.
viewers uncomfortable.